I hope you're with us in video 2 here after watching our first one. If so, you know the goal there was to focus your attention on the wonder of God's creation of the star-filled universe. Well, I'd like to continue that focus for a few minutes, just redirect it slightly to highlight the truly amazing, awe-inspiring artistry of God in His creation of all life on planet Earth. But there's a definite goal involved here, and that is to lead us well beyond a basic appreciation of the beautiful animals and scenes you're seeing here, and to an understanding of what God might be wanting to say to you through them. So let's start down that path. You know, in a parable, Jesus talked about a route taken by most people in life over what He called the broad road. Ominously, though, He said that one led to destruction. Then He contrasted that with the narrow road or path which leads to eternal life. It's that narrow way that we'll be pointing to in the rest of this short video. Just drink in for a few more moments the wonders of God's creation while considering 2 Bible passages. And God said, "Let there be lights in the vault of the sky to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark sacred times and days and years, and let them be lights in the vault of the sky to give light on the earth." Look up to the sky and see the sun, the moon, and the stars, all the heavenly array. You know, on Earth, the best scientific minds still cannot unravel the true nature of our phenomenal star-filled universe and the deep secrets inherent in the complexities of all life on planet Earth, starting with a vast amount of programmed intelligence found in all DNA. That said, how can we do anything other than appreciate, be amazed, and also humbled before our all-powerful God who designed and created such beauty and mystery? And I hope by now that you're like me and feeling that it just seems as natural as breathing that we would want to know more about the mighty Creator God. When we see the awesome photos of deep space, the night sky above us, as we're considering briefly in this second video, the extraordinary variety of plant and animal life all around us. So let's marvel one last time at the miracle of life and the beauty of nature gifted to us by God with this brief music-enhanced slide interlude. And then we're going to move on to some vital spiritual aspects. That's kind of the crux of these videos as I wanted to produce them.
Hi, I'm Mike, and I'm pleased to join Steve in this next section of our short series focused on the wonders of creation and our critical life choices. So, moving further into what Steve shared, let me ask you a theoretical question. What do we as Christians have to look forward to? Ultimately, that we can look forward to stepping off of this tired old earth and into the awesomeness of heaven is something the true Christian anticipates with real joy. Most of us have natural apprehension or even a fear of dying. That process is not something anyone looks forward to. But for the Christian, 1 second after the heart stops permanently, it means immediate elation and an unimaginable thrill at stepping into the glorious, blazing presence of our loving Creator, the eternal God. God's staggeringly beautiful variety of life on this unique planet gives us just a taste of His true nature. We can all be amazed looking up into the starry heavens or drinking in the stunning artistry in God's creation. Just consider the colossal variety of animals, trees, flowers, and of course, the summit of God's creation, human beings, created in God's image. When we see these things, we can understand a tiny bit better what He must be like. As God opens our eyes when we come to faith in Jesus Christ, we suddenly can't help but be overwhelmed by the wonder of His creation as we never have before. Many of us under 40 misguidedly become more interested in things like making money, maximizing our own ease, comfort, and pleasure. So that highlights the purpose of this second video, to lay out the critical importance of God's message to all people about life choices that dictate an eternal decision. And it certainly must begin with an understanding of and a belief in God's cherished instruction manual, the Bible. I urge you to pay special attention and to think deeply about the truths presented in the accurate historical record of the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, revealed in all four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I hope none of you watching believe that an all-powerful God who created everything, including us, is not capable of guiding the spokesman He chose to write accurately, and for historians to preserve, His message to all human beings down the ages. Of course He could, and did, which is the bedrock on which we'll anchor the remaining, vitally important section of this little series. I'll close this segment with two quotes from a renowned Bible scholar and book author, Dr. John MacArthur. In one of his many books on all aspects of the Bible, Dr. MacArthur said this: "There are some books that change your thinking, but this is the only book that can change your nature. This is the only book that can totally transform you from the inside out." If you still have any doubts about who the Bible is intended for, Dr. MacArthur further explained, "The Bible is for people who have some sense of desperation about where they are. It's for people who don't have the purpose in their lives they wish they had. That's who this book is for. People who don't have all the answers and who want something better."
And this is where we must make the biggest transition in our odyssey from considering the profound beauty of God's design of the universe and life on earth to His purposes in that creation, according to the Scriptures. This is also where two key words must enter in: belief and faith. You know, I really urge you to stop and think about this. In fact, what I most want to do is to plead with you to think carefully about this. Your life and mine have end points out ahead somewhere. Does anybody have a doubt about that? I doubt it. Well, the end points are already set in time. The year, month, day, hour, second is out there somewhere. Nothing we can do will ever change that appointed time. So maybe God is touching your heart right now to know that you have a serious need. If so, you'll want to pay much closer attention to God's instruction manual, that's the Bible of course, than you might have otherwise done before. That said, consider a great passage from that wonderful book of Psalms in the Bible's Old Testament. Quote, "For He, God, satisfies the longing soul and fills the hungry soul with goodness." Now that verse certainly defines what occurred to so many of us who were drawn to the promise of forgiveness, healing, and sin, and the gift of eternal life through faith in Jesus Christ. But you and I live on planet Earth now, and it's amid so many overwhelming distractions, isn't it? And that's really hard to put those distractions aside sometimes and, kind of be done with the static in your mind for a while and just think about our eternal destinies. Sometimes the things of life are burdensome, terribly burdensome, I know, for some of you, or distracting enough to keep you from really the obvious reality of eternity ahead. But that can be incredibly dangerous. So this is where we must shift our focus to the all-important issue facing every human being, which is, where will I actually be in eternity? What could be more important to consider than that at any age? Thankfully, there is a hope you can cling to that leads out of eternal judgment and out of eternal outer darkness in a way that would lead away from the presence of God forever. And this hope, which we'll share now in much clearer detail, is that wonderful gift available to you if you choose to reach out and take it. John Knox uttered these last piercing words and then died. Well, we'll close these end-of-life statements with the contented words of a man who was obviously in peaceful harmony with his swiftly approaching death. August Strindberg, a Swedish dramatist who died May 14, 1912, left a legacy of forgiveness and redemption. He died with the Bible clasped tightly to his chest, saying simply, "It is atoned for." If you're thinking a bit about this last segment, and especially if you're under 40 and in great health, death must seem most remote. It may well be harder for you to seriously reflect on what has been presented here. After all, doesn't death happen to others, mostly the elderly? Of course, we know that's not a reality. Serious reflection on why I'm here on earth and where I'll be 100 years from now are wise questions to ponder.
Hi, I'm Don, and I'd like to share a few thoughts with you. A very well-known pastor and Bible scholar, Dr. Erwin Lutzer, noted that you and I are born as sinners with an expiration date. No natural disaster, no pandemic, traffic accident, or anything else increases the number of people who will die. Why, the death rate is 100%. You see, we're all part of that statistic. So, here are 3 vital questions that you may be asking at this point. If not, think about it. The first one, Steve introduced a few minutes ago, but personally, I can't imagine any question more urgent for any human being than to ask these. Where will I be in eternity if I die tonight? Am I right with God? Can I really know for certain? We draw toward a close of this little 2-part series with the answers of these 3 vital life questions. And it really comes down to this. Am I good, bad, or maybe even both? From the Bible's clear statements, it depends where you are in the terms of faith. From the very early chapters in the very first Bible book, Genesis, it's made crystal clear that there was a terrible fall, a fall from grace that still hits the human race today with its full furious impact. I think it's vital to realize that only a small hop of faith, or a step of faith for that matter, into the light is needed to believe in the Bible's good news. And that is that Jesus Christ gave us an incredible gift, the gift of redemption and healing. That is really the crux of the whole matter, of the gospel really, the message contained in Scriptures. And it is vital to any true understanding of the gospel message in the Bible. So, since you're still watching and listening, it may well be that the God who created you also has opened your heart to know the truth.